Hello, no Sharpies.
Right?
We're
I'm
going to
like,
vamp a little bit because this is a very special episode. We did not give you all a lot of lead time to come on to the show. So some of you are probably receiving some notifications on YouTube, and some
mhm.
of you on the West Coast are probably still at work. Hopefully, most of you on the East Coast, like Joy, who is looking absolutely splendid in these DNC themed locks of just freedom and uh, Kamala and stuff. So this is a recap. We promised that we would do some recapery. And so this is going to be a brief show. It's going to be a super brief show. Hopefully you all will check it out. But we did want to introduce a new person to the team. And I'm going to pass it over to Joy so she can tell us a little bit more since Jermaine is not here.
Absolutely. So, as we were trying to figure out how we wanted to cover the DNC, we heard from you all, and you said, we wanted a little bit, maybe we'll call it maybe short and sharp for this week, as all right, as we try to cover the DNC. We didn't want to interfere with the live coverage. We also didn't want to be here all night every night because that's a lot. So we're recapping, maybe 24 hours later, what happened yesterday before what happens tonight. And Jermaine had a contact, he had an in with someone who was a delegate to the convention. And is actually there in person right now. Her name is Tiffany Countryman. And so we're going to have a little segment every night, talking about, a word from our countrymen every night. And she's able to record things as they're happening. She's giving us some tidbits like, kind of literally a woman on the street. And she's recording kind of how she's feeling, experiencing the buzz and the energy in the room where it happens right now as history is being made. And so you'll see some clips from her from time to time over the span of this week. And we've got the first one tonight to share, but we wanted to really get into, this is going to be, like we said, a short, like 25, 30-minute show as we talk about what happened yesterday and prepare for what's going on tonight.
And in addition to Tiffany Countryman, we actually have a couple of people on the ground. My good friend, brother Brett Roberts, who is also a delegate from Los Angeles. Tiffany is from like Antelope Valley, so she's still in the LA footprint, but Brett is also there, and Brett has sent us some videos. And as a matter of fact, Brett is rubbing shoulders with some pretty fancy people. Here he is with superstar Jasmine Crockett,
okay,
who is repping DSC. You know what I'm saying? We got the whole Kappa Delta thing cracking. Anyway, I thought, and I'm going to get some of your impressions because my comments on my Facebook thread, and thank you for everybody who was liking kind of my live blogging of the night. I was calling it the night of women. I know that it was, for the people. I know it was really supposed to speak broader to just all Americans, but I was struck by the incredible speeches, mostly by women. Of course, Biden capped everything off, but before that, you had Jasmine Crockett, you had AOC, you had Jill Biden, you had Ashley Biden, you had those incredible women telling their harrowing stories about reproductive and bodily autonomy and healthcare. And to me, it just jumped out that this was a night of women. What's your take, Joy?
I totally agree. And speaking about, women talking about their bodily autonomy, we've been saying for about 7-8 years right now, hey, women, get on the stick. Like, this is about you. And I think it really was brought home last night. Like, women from every walk of life, every demographic, every age range are coming to say, this is our time. And it's not about our time to shine. It's our time to step up and to get in this fight and to be represented not only through the personification that is Kamala Harris, but also to say our voices matter. We will not be silenced. As the phrase is, we will not go back. We ain't about to do this. Or, to use a vernacular, what we ain't gonna damn do is roll back. And it came through loud and clear and eloquent and professional and with the big words, with some very stirring speeches. And I would say, because it was also a night to say, not farewell, but to say, we appreciate you to current president. Let's not forget, he's still in here working.
The president.
President Joe Biden. And I don't think either one overshadowed the other. It was a night that I felt like I got invigorated by all the speeches from all these women saying, yes, we are here and we are ready to fight. But I also got my heart broken in the best way possible by Joe. I don't think I've been moved to tears by anything else other than what he was saying. I was,
Yeah, it
I
was
was really,
I thought for sure the stories of the women as they were recounting their challenges with their individual states about and none of these were, well, I take that back. The first two scenarios were not about an abortion per se. The first
right,
woman was faced with a fetus that had some very difficult challenges,
which
and
is
they
not
it
uncommon.
is not uncommon at all, and they knew it was going to be a problem, but they had to wait until she was almost bleeding out in order to seek care. And then the second scenario with the sister, she and her husband were hoping to have a child, their second child, and she miscarried, and they had to wait because she was in Louisiana and they weren't going to allow her to do it. She could not get care
Mhm.
because of the strict restrictions. And then the last young lady, a homecoming queen, she was raped by her stepfather and was told, "You've got choices." And that was harrowing. It didn't move me to tears, but it made me think, this is what these women have to
Mhm.
struggle with, and that is absolutely insane. And to hear some of the rhetoric from the right talking about um, aborting babies up to and after birth, it's
How do
like,
you abort a baby
how
that's
do you
already out?
how do you first of all, the Hippocratic oath takes over. Once the baby is out, a doctor can't just kill a baby.
Right.
That's not how it works. They Once the baby is out and the baby is alive, they are obligated to take care of that new human who is now outside of the womb. So that's not even a thing, but that is their talking point. They're trying to make it seem like Democrats are monsters and everybody's talking about voluntary abortion on demand up until the birth. And it just doesn't work that way. But
No.
that's their talking point. The other thing that struck me, and I will say, I thought things started a little slow. The energy seemed a little low. I wasn't processing it through the lens of, oh, this is Monday. And so it's
Right.
not going to be the big barnstorming thing. It just seemed like there were audio things. You had two female governors,
Mm.
women governors, and one of them from New York, which is obviously a very big state. And then you had a governor from a smaller state. But it seemed to me like they were teeing things up. It was like, these are women executives. They are leading their states. Get used to it. And yes,
Hey,
exactly. Thank you,
Anthony.
Anthony. Thank you for coming, Anthony. So by the time we actually got to the beginning of like the speeches,
Mhm.
uh, it seemed like the energy in the room was up. I have to say, it's no surprise that the Democratic National Committee, with the access of the your creatives that move in Democratic or liberal circles, that they would have extraordinarily well produced pieces, and they
Mhm.
were stunning. You
Right.
had a bunch of bio pieces about Kamala Harris. You had a great piece that they patterned after Law and Order, which I thought was absolutely hilarious.
That was
Um,
killer. I saw that
oh,
this
it was
morning.
so amazing, and
Mhm.
so it was really great to see as the energy kind of came up. And I think the first thing that really exploded for me was AOC.
Yeah.
I That woman, I mean, just everything about it, she was firing on all cylinders, and she is an amazing political talent. I was concerned that maybe we would see, like Anthony,
Mhm.
um, I I felt like it was kind of blunting the momentum, but when AOC came on there, she tore it to shreds. It
That
was
girl don't
almost like
miss.
a West Wing moment of
And,
like,
and please understand when I say that girl, I'm not denigrating her in
no, no,
any
no,
way.
mm-mm,
That's
no,
like, that's like throwing a shoe at her, in the church. Like that girl don't miss. You better go,
that's
girl.
right, that's right. No, she was absolutely amazing, and I thought there were some surprises. I did not know that Steve Kerr was going to be making a presentation. And
Mhm.
coming off the heels of winning Olympic gold with the basketball team, he
And I love him.
complimented the women, which I thought was also very intentional. And
Mhm.
I posted while that was going on, I said, quick, how many non-political celebrities were at the RNC? And here you have the coach of the world champion basketball team of the Olympics, Olympic gold. And not only does he make a great speech, but he also throws a comment to Coach Walls critiquing his handling of a football game and like literally outlining, I think you should have come to the D. Da, da, da. And I was like, every dude who watched that speech was like, oh, maybe the Democrats aren't all bad.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
And
That's
the thing
exactly what I would
is,
say.
that's how you bring in inclusion. It's like everybody has something they relate to.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had, and I think everybody had a moment during this first night, and it was just the first night where they can go, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I see you. Regardless of where you stand, even if you were hate watching it, you had
Oh,
a moment where you're like, I mean, I guess, there was a moment for everybody.
if you were hate watching, because I watched bits of the RNC because we blogged it. If you were hate watching this, you couldn't stay hating. You couldn't, because there was so much love. The vibe. How can you hate a throng of people holding up signs and chanting USA? The
Right.
optimism, the hope, the love, the joy, the celebration about turning a corner and turning a page.
Hmm.
It was infectious. And then you
Hmm.
had these stemwinder speeches. Jasmine Crockett came in and she brought us some new alliteration. Go
Yes.
on. I said she was channeling Janelle Monáe fashion sense, and I was here for it because that tuxedo thing with the thing. I
Hillary.
was like,
Mhm.
come on. It once it got started, it didn't stop, and it carried
And if
all
you
the way
think
through.
about it, they were using standard concert mechanics. Let's bring in the opening acts. Let's bring in a
Uh-huh.
couple of
Yep.
comedians, test the things out, work the bugs out, and then you bring in your big hitters.
That's right. What did you think? I have my own opinion about Hillary Clinton. What did you think about Hillary Clinton last night?
First off, I thought her speech was strong. I really
Mm-hmm.
like what she had to say. I did think that there were a couple times I was like, this is the speech she wanted to give in 2016 that she never got a chance to give. And I like that she had a chance to get that off her chest, so to speak. But I also like that she wasn't trying to overshadow anybody
Mm-mm.
else. It wasn't like she was like, this is my moment. This is my day. But it was very much, yeah, finally, like I said before, and I love that she said we got him on the run. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and she admitted it was like we say, Shirley walked so Kamala could run. She was like,
Yep.
we started something before. We can finish it now. So she put herself in the chain of events. And I
Exactly.
very much like that too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was very impressed, and I was commenting that her time away
Mm.
and maybe the pressure of not being a candidate
Because I
has
remember when
allowed
she
her to
walked
take
off into
some.
the forest.
She took stock.
Mm-hmm.
And just the fact that she started that chain with Shirley Chisholm, I was like, okay. And then Geraldine Ferraro, I was like, okay. And then
Mm-hmm.
she mentioned herself, and then she pushed Kamala out and said, we're gonna do it. And the vibe I got, because they kept panning the audience, they kept sweeping the audience. You saw teenage girls, you saw middle-aged women, you saw Gen Xers, you saw or not Gen Xers, that's us. You saw millennials, you saw Gen Zers, you saw just this whole group of women, and
8 to 80. Yes.
right, the spirit that came to me was these ladies ain't letting it happen again.
Mm-hmm.
They are not. Whatever they thought that turned them off at the last minute from Hillary and sent them to Jill Stein or whatever, this is their shot. This is the party that is going to make it happen. And they are not going quietly into that good night. They are going to turn it out. And it's only going to get bigger. What did you think? I was kind of surprised because I heard the Beyonce song and I said, oh, there's no way Beyonce's actually doing a live performance tonight. It's Monday. There's no way it's
Exactly.
happening. What did you feel when Kamala Harris actually walked on the stage? Because that was a surprise to me. I was not expecting it.
I was like, this is wrong because they pop it early. We don't need no premature speeches, you know. And then what you're gonna do for the rest of this? And don't recycle. But then I was like, okay, I see what they're doing, and I thought it was a great way to reward the people that showed up early,
Right.
because
Yeah.
they kind of, they're going to be there for a long time, and they
Hmm.
get this kind of pop of excitement. And to your point, it did kind of start slow, and then kind of a it's like I'll give you an analogy. I remember when I went to see Prince in LA, and Mary J. Blige was opening for him, and Prince came out and played guitar for her while she was doing his opening. Even she didn't expect to see him out there, and it
Right.
changed the energy of the whole night.
Yeah,
And it didn't
absolutely.
dampen seeing him later. Even Mary J was like, "Oh
Right. It's
my god!" Right?
Prince. It's Prince. Yeah. I was struck
And she
at.
looked good
She
too.
looked amazing. She looked amazing.
She looked
I grabbed some
ready.
images, I grabbed screen grabs, and I actually rewound the feed because I was trying to find the right screen grabs. Her smile was incredible. The package that welcomed her onto stage was absolutely incredible.
Mhm.
Um, and to see her come out and just beaming radiance in a way that Trump, his whole thing is about being aggrieved. And here you had this woman stride onto stage
Mhm.
and she looked great. She was smiling, she was waving, people were cheering, people were going nuts for her. And she had a very simple, brief message. It was not her speech. She
Mhm.
just wanted to say, I think you're exactly right. She just wanted to thank folks. Thank you for being here, y'all. I'm
Mhm.
here. We fixing to win, and wave your flags and woo 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 and
Yeah.
bye. And then she
See,
dipped out,
see
and
y'all
it was
Thursday.
over.
Yeah.
Right. And it was just, I was, it was a pleasure. It felt long, but it was a pleasure. And I
Mhm.
think the thing about getting back to Hillary Clinton, because I felt like you, if this Hillary had ran in 2016, I think she could have done it, because
That's
this Hillary was, and I hesitate to use the word mellow because I don't want to sound like her being strong and forceful
mhm.
was a negative, but she was refined, and her message wasn't just about being against Trump.
Right.
This Hillary Clinton had something to say. This Hillary Clinton was promoting something about the country and was riding the momentum of a wave.
Mhm.
This Hillary Clinton understood the situation, and it wasn't entitled Hillary,
Yeah. Yeah.
because Bill and Hillary, when the whole Obama thing happened and where'd this guy come from and who in the hell did da 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 da, all of that, she was writing that entitlement stuff. Even though she was the
Mhm.
Secretary of State, she decided to play that role, and then she stepped back before the term was over because she was going to be a candidate, whatever, whatever. It didn't feel like she was trying to earn your vote. It felt like she was owed your vote. And that did not come through last night. And this Hillary Clinton, I thought she was great. I thought even the pantsuit, which I was never a fan of her pantsuits, I thought the suit looked great.
Mhm.
Um, and she gave a solid speech. And then about halfway through, maybe 60% through, she started sticking the knife in. And I
Mhm.
was like, go on.
Because I
Get
mean, she
that
ain't got nothing to
fool.
lose, right?
Nothing. She's not doing
She's in a
anything else.
different position, which allowed her to be a lot more authentic, a lot more relaxed, and a lot more. I mean, I say what I want to say because I'm going home after this. So there
Right.
was a level of like there was nothing to defend, nothing to promote. She just was there to say, now's our time. And she was there to, support somebody else, which does put her in a different position than she was in 2016. There was no
Correct.
emails hanging over her head. There was no
Correct.
Benghazi hanging over her head. So a
Yep.
lot less stress. And
Yeah. No,
similar, yeah, yeah, I
she
think I
was
think it was great. One
she
other
was
thing you
amazing.
mentioned, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You were saying.
You mentioned Beyonce earlier. That ad that they put up with freedom in the background. First of all, catch me on the right day, and that song is gonna move me to wanting to like run out in the street anyway. The way that they put that together,
Oh
when I
yeah.
tell you, I was sitting in my house, freedom, freedom, okay. I, I was so, it was so perfect.
Yeah. It
And
was
to
amazing.
have someone who is in the prime of their career touching billions across the
Correct.
world, and that's going to get replayed a million times because it's Beyonce. You know,
Any of those packages could be an internet ad buy. They
yeah,
were all too long for television, but any
hmm
of those things, all of those things should be pushed out across the internet on
hmm
the Harris campaign, uh, all
and
of it.
play them in between all these other
And
YouTube
uh,
commercials I'm getting because right,
exactly.
I don't know what my
All of it.
algorithm is doing, but I'm on YouTube a lot watching like other stuff, and I keep getting these ads like Trump has got this ad where they say Ronald Reagan wants to talk to you. And I keep getting that. And it's like a 90-second ad. And I'm like, I would much rather watch a clip of that Beyonce ad than
Correct.
this other thing. I think I expected, to your point, the momentum to maybe be blunted or
Mhm.
plateau. I feel like they've reached another level, and I think it's going to continue on. I'm excited.
Well,
I was
we are
talking to my
about
therapist earlier today, and I was like, I have hope, and I
right.
meant it. You know?
No, absolutely. We're at 21 minutes, and I think this is a
Hmm.
good time to introduce our special correspondent, Tiffany Countryman. I'm going to slide us to the side, and
Hmm.
I'm going to present her video.
This is her recap of day
This
one.
is her recap. And so, just to give you a little context, Tiffany has been a delegate in times past. She has been a Democratic operative. And so, she is a person who is not new to this. She's true to this.
She's an
And
activist. Hmm.
she's an activist. And she is a woman with a mission. So, let's take a look at what Tiffany has to share.
I'm just so excited. Last night was amazing. Hillary Clinton's speech was the highlight of the night for me because I love Hillary. She's the reason I started doing what I do. So that was definitely the highlight. That was the most sentimental part of the night for me. Second, right behind her was Joe. That was an absolute, it made me very emotional. So
Hmm.
tonight, I'm looking forward to seeing Barack and Michelle, of course, but I don't think anything will top uh, tonight or last night and Thursday. Both of them are really, both Hillary and Kamala are probably the most important politicians to me. So I'm looking forward to tonight. I'm looking forward to Wednesday, but I think Monday was incredible. And I hope that Thursday will be just as incredible or even more so.
Yeah, that was a big part of it for me. It was a great way to start.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated, since she was talking about Joe Biden's speech, I really appreciated how President Biden embraced Harris and brought her in to all of their big accomplishments and found a way to signal to the audience that it wasn't just him. She was a part of the team. She was an important part of the team, and she's
Right.
ready
She's
to
been
go and
doing
ready
it.
to stick it out.
Right.
I will say, I thought he started off really spectacular. I thought it was strong and forceful and energetic. It did feel, by the time we got to the end, that I said to myself, it was the right decision. It
Yeah.
was because he had that one stumble where I don't know if it was teleprompter or whatever, but he
When he was trying
lost
to
it
say
for
his
like,
quote.
yeah,
Mhm.
4 seconds, and I was like, yeah. It was a great speech. It was his swan song. It was a valedictory speech,
Mhm.
you might say, and it was very impactful. But it was well placed at the end. And to Jill, I listen. Jill Biden was really
Y'all
amazing.
better put some respect on her name. Y'all don't know
Doctor
about Dr. Jill Biden up
Dr.
in this piece.
Jill Biden was killer. And it's interesting because she's first lady, but she's not a first lady running for reelection.
Uh-huh.
She wore that shimmy shangle sequin number instead of like a suit.
I was loving it. I was here for it.
No, she did it.
Now, I'm
And
gonna say something. It's gonna give me black card took. I think she was giving better speech than Michelle. A little bit. Just a little bit.
wait, you think Jill is gonna you think Michelle's speech is not gonna be as good as Jill's?
I'm saying that the speeches I've heard before from
Oh, okay.
Michelle
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
were not as good as what I heard from Dr. Jill Biden last night.
I would agree with you on one point at least.
Mm-hmm.
She was talking about her husband, and
Mm.
she knew that this was going to be the last time she got to say something like that
She went
about
all out.
that man on a stage like that.
Yeah.
Whereas with Michelle, her energy, I mean, she wants to elect a president, but it's not like she's talking about Barack,
Right.
and so it is going to be different. And
Right.
they're not at the end of their careers.
Yeah,
They're
she got to
still
go
doing
home.
things. Yeah. Jill ain't, Jill is, this is it. They're going to go
Mhm.
back to Delaware at the end of the presidency on January 22nd. They're going to be gone. They ain't going to be trying
Mhm.
to stay around DC like the Obamas did or whatever. They're
Mhm.
going back
They
to
ain't writing no more
Delaware.
books. They ain't going on no more
No,
tours.
nothing. They
Yeah.
done. And hopefully if Ashley gives them some grandkids or whatever,
Mhm.
they just gonna be Mama and Papa
Pop, pop.
Biden,
Mhm.
Papa
Mhm.
Mama Mima,
Mhm.
and that's what came through. She was amazing. I was like, this would be. I mean, I knew he had to speak, but I was like, if he ain't speak, she did it.
Yeah.
She did it for me.
But it was a 1-2 punch from both
It
of them.
was.
Mhm.
And Ashley, again, when you think about the Trump children versus Ashley Biden, Ashley was poised, articulate, gracious, lovely, uh, told great that story she told about him taking the train back just to give her a cake and then leaving right away. It was so amazing. You don't get that from any of them Trumps.
She was the personification of young America. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
When you think about what you want to see emblazoned across a big screen, that was it. You
No,
know?
she did that. It was, and again, to see how the Biden family, and it was just kind of like a seamless thing. And for him to that's my daughter, and holding up her hand, and I mean, it was really uh it was amazing. I wasn't expecting, because again, we live in this era, especially
Mhm.
in the fraught circumstances in which we find ourselves, where
Mhm.
you've got these two parties, and it's so partisan. The fact that they decided to say, we're not going to talk about Trump.
Mhm.
Oh, one thing I will say this, y'all, when that UAW worker took off that jacket that says Trump is a
The
scab,
scab.
baby, I was like, oh, no, that's. Wait, I'm gonna share this picture because I don't know if y'all saw it. So hold on, I'm gonna share it right now. It should be this one. Yep, and put you on there. Boop. Trump
Wow.
is a scab. Vote
Mhm.
Harris. And the comment I made is that every UAW worker is not going to wear a Trump is a scab t-shirt,
Right.
but no union worker is going to ever wear a Kamala is a scab t-shirt. No
Right.
union worker is ever going to wear Walls is a scab t-shirt, because,
Mhm.
and here's Jermaine, because they aren't. They're the antithesis of that. They work and have worked with unions and have done their thing. So that was a moment for me that was really spectacular. Welcome, Jermaine.
Okay, I'm working with my mic. Can you hear me?
We
Yeah.
can.
Can y'all hear
Yeah.
me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't hear y'all. Hold on. I have a new
Oh,
mic.
we can hear you. We can hear you. I think it might be because you're
I wish
using
you
the
guys would
cord.
have told me about this. I would have jumped on.
Okay, we put it in the chat, but
Hold
it's
on.
good.
I can't hear
You're gonna have.
anything. Maybe let me take this out. Or maybe I'll just get off altogether. Hold on.
So
So go ahead, Joy.
while he's working on that, one of
Hmm.
the other things you mentioned, like um, if you would, while I'm talking, could you text him and text him and tell him to change his mic. You know what, he's gone. So
Yep.
one of the things that I also noticed, like the discrepancy or the differences between the RNC and the DNC, is the RNC is very much, we're going to destroy, we're going to
Right.
take down, we're going to get. It was a whole lot of violence, venom, and vitriol, right?
Mhm.
And over here, you've got, we're going to win, we're going to do this. It's reminiscent of the "Yes, we can" of Obama,
Right.
but it's taken it a step further of, we got this, there's power here, it's our time, it's our moment, a whole lot of hope,
Yeah.
which I really appreciated. And to your point, it was a whole lot in the RNC of Biden is old, which doesn't matter because he's not running anymore.
Not running anymore.
They spend so much time saying he should step down, he should step down. Then we did it. I can't believe he stepped down. That's not fair, idiots. And then, Trump with his same old, he's still talking about Hillary. He's still talking about Biden is old because he didn't have any material. Laughing Kamala. Think about that. Why are you mad somebody's laughing? Why are you mad somebody's happy? I believe that the DNC is kind of like this party of celebrating life in all its forms, celebrating the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Right.
I think they're bringing that part back, Jermaine, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but my mic isn't plugged in. So
it's okay.
We can hear you now.
Don't worry about it. We can hear you.
Am I good? Like
you're good.
Fine. You're fine. Let's not talk about that anymore.
Yeah.
So
what we would like to hear from you is what was your impression of the first night? What was your highlights?
Oh, let's see here. Jasmine Crockett.
Really? Okay.
Yes. Her up close and personal. I didn't know she knew the first lady that well, because she's a freshman congresswoman. My folks she's actually she represents my mom's district back home. So when Eddie Bernice King retired and then she passed away, Jasmine took her seat over. She was a state legislator for a little while in Texas as well. Anyway, I didn't know that she knew Vice President Harris as well as she did. And knowing that the story, it was like that instant Black sister love when she said that. Because I don't think they had met each other prior, but she kind of looked over and kind of gave her that look like, you good, right? And then she talked to her about it. So I thought that was a very insightful story. The way that the whole bitch blonde thing came about, she was fed up, and that was just her moment. And that moment just, hey, Anthony, just rocketed her to where she is now, because that was like this pushback, not just from her, but from the collective culture who's been like, yo, I want to get in on this too. So we kind of felt like it was all of ours when she finally clapped back at her at that particular congressional hearing.
Right.
And so it was that one that was particularly, and plus I just have a liking to her because I just think she's just so special. She's young. She's the future of the Democratic Party.
She's fiery. Yeah.
Yeah. And I hope that she stays in politics. She did an interview on the Breakfast Club and she mentioned to Charlemagne that she didn't know how long she would stay just because there's just no money, and she said she'll eventually write a book. So maybe, but I feel like as the longer she stays in, the more room will be made for her and she'll be able to like have a substantial life and be able to have some means as a result of her, her celebrity, because she's basically a celebrity right now. So I don't think that one.
I think if you were to name like the top 10 voices that immediately kind of you think of in terms of making a presence, Raskin is one. Raskin did his thing last night. We haven't talked about him, but Raskin has been doing his thing on cameras in these committee hearings. Jasmine is definitely another. AOC is definitely another. I think Eric Swalwell's trying to step up and do a whole lot. There's the congressman from New York. Is it Moskowitz? Jared Moskowitz from New York, who's also been punching the GOP. One of the things that I think we should mention while we're talking about Joe Biden and a swan song, the GOP committee that was investigating him for impeachment basically dropped it without recommending impeachment. Yeah. And it was obviously the right decision to do because there was no way he was going to be impeached, but also it would have made them look really crass since he's not even running anymore. It's like, why are you beating up on this old guy who has stepped down? It really would be dumb. Plus, that automatically by default elevates Kamala Harris to the seat of the presidency, which you also don't want to do. You don't want to running as a technical incumbent because that's definitely a whole different thing. All of a sudden, the whole news cycles, anytime she steps behind a podium, you have to cover it because she is actually the president. So
coverage, yeah.
But it does strike me that after all of that they promised, Marjorie Taylor Greene, silent as a church mouse, Comer, Jim Jordan, none of them have anything to say now that their entire case fell apart and they don't have any leg to stand on. And they tried to say, oh, well, he was in these meetings after he was vice president and before he was president. And so what? So it was really kind of ridiculous that they played it out and strung it out as long as they did. What are you all each looking forward to tonight? We heard from Tiffany that she's really looking forward to the Obamas. What about the each of you?
Well, Michelle can say what she wants, but I'm looking forward to my man coming on stage. We share him, but it's like he's both ours, but she just keep him at her house. I'm interested to see what I joke around, but I am interested to see what the former president Barack Obama has to say, because he has been, aside from some of the stumping, etc., he has been relatively quiet. And there was that moment that we all discussed where they were a little behind the curve on endorsing her. So I'm interested to see what he has to say tonight. I'm also interested in some of the, I'm forgetting what the lineup is. So I'm interested in it because when I saw him, that's all I'm looking for. And I was going to watch him and go to bed, to be honest. But some of the other folks, I'm interested to see if anybody else pops out as a new voice, because I'm always interested in who's on the bench, because we can't just always keep looking for just a president. We need more strong senators, Congress people. I'm even looking at some of the, like you mentioned, governors, lieutenant governors, mayors, et cetera, that are going to continue to be throughout here, because who else is helping us run this crazy country and keep us on the right track? Because this isn't a one and done. Even if Kamala, even if the Harris Walz ticket wins, that is not the end of it. It is the beginning of trying to restore our democracy. And we've got to continue that on. We can't go back to sleep.
That's right. I said AOC made that very clear. Here's a rundown. Some of the names that everybody knows. Jamie Harrison, who is the chairman of the DNC. Obviously, that makes a whole lot of sense. Mitch Landrieu, former senator or rep from Louisiana. Jason Carter, representing former President Jimmy Carter, who has famously said he wants to stay alive long enough to vote for Kamala.
Yeah,
I want to hear
absolutely
what he has to say.
amazing. You've got Jack Schlossberg, who is Kennedy's grandson. Malcolm Kenyatta, the state rep Malcolm Kenyatta. You've got a former Trump voter, blah, blah, blah. Stephanie Grisham, the former White House press secretary, speaking at the DNC. You've got
lot of people jumping ship over there.
a lot of people. You've got a Teamster. You've got Anna Navarro. Chuck Schumer is speaking. Bernie Sanders. Governor Pritzker. Yeah, so that's a big one. Governor Bernie Sanders. And I thought, again, to your point, Jermaine, bringing Jasmine Crockett and AOC, and I think AOC was the one who brought up Palestine and Gaza, I think, the first time last night. But other people from that generation who knew they needed to speak to that point also covered it as well. Ken Chenault, the business executive, that's a black man. Michelle Grisham, who's the governor, again, female governor of New Mexico. A Senate candidate, Angela Also Brooks from Maryland. John Giles, that's the mayor of Mesa, Arizona, the Republican mayor
who's voting,
who endorsed Kamala. Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois. Now, she's Purple Heart. I think she's definitely going to cut him on that congressional Medal of Honor thing. That's why you got Tammy up there, because she gave her legs.
And she's visual. She's in a wheelchair, so it's going to be a beautiful production.
No, it's going to be a big thing. And I bet you anything, she's going to wheel out and stand up on those prosthetics. She's going to do the whole thing.
Bring the drama.
Absolutely. And then the last three, obviously Douglas Emhoff, second gentleman, her husband, and then Michelle, and then Barack Obama. So it's a big lineup, another, full of stars, full of people. There's LGBTQ representation in this lineup. You've got people, you've got Latinas, you've got South Asians in here. You've got several Jewish persons on here. You've got some governors. You've got some black folks. You've got, it's really telling that, you have these folks.
I don't remember the night, but there's some Native American representation as well, isn't there? If not tonight, Wednesday night.
I'm not sure. There's nobody. Well, it may be that Michelle Grisham actually is of Indigenous heritage as well, shared Indigenous heritage. There's nobody on here that immediately jumps out to me as an Indigenous or a First Nations person representing.
I do know that I got some, because I've been getting, once I started donating again, I started getting, that's for everybody, and I did get some donation requests from a specific group that was First Nations for Harris, and First Nations. And it was also a request for getting into politics, and they were trying to build up their own representation and build their own candidates to start having a broader voice in the halls of DC. So I'm looking for, and again, when I talk about building bench, who deserves representation more than the people we stole this country from? So,
absolutely. We are at 41 minutes, but Jermaine, since you joined us a little bit late, what do you think, or what are you looking forward to the most about tomorrow's lineup? And
tonight,
there's
or
anything
tomorrow?
you have to say
tonight.
about
Tonight.
Tonight. I'm sorry, tonight's lineup.
And this is kind of catty because I am in that mood right now. I feel like Michelle Obama should dive or revise or revisit that when they go low, we go high. I want to know if that's changed since she's last declared that and made that the Democratic's moniker. Because, you know, some of her personal interviews and her little snapshots that we've seen for her since Trump has been around don't sound like when they go low, we go high. It sounds very like, yo, we're going to go scorch earth on your ass. That's what it really sounds like.
Right.
She'll be on her home turf. She'll be in Chicago, so she'll be a lot more comfortable.
Come on, South Side.
Come on, South Side.
So I feel like she's going to be in her element, and she's going to probably bring a little bit more edge, because remember her face when he got inaugurated and everybody was like, gosh, she just does not look happy. I feel like that's going to be able to just all of a sudden just be released, and she's going to say what she was probably thinking that particular day. Because this is our first time actually seeing her in this huge blossoming, you know, Democratic atmosphere. We've seen her do the book tours, but in this setting, since that, we haven't seen that. So I'm looking for her to revise that message a little bit, because you can't win right now. Not that we have to be as nasty as they are, but we need to be a little bit more aggressive and push back. One of you guys mentioned it early on, about a couple of weeks ago. There needs to be someone who writes all the different clapbacks.
Yes.
That's very true. I need her to come with a whole stock of clapbacks. I'm not kidding you.
I kind of feel that they are trying to ride, because in a debate, I think the clapbacks are going to play. I think they are trying to set a stark tonal difference. And the energy I get from them, if I'm an RNC person, or I'm a Trumper, really, not a Trumper, because the Trumpers are immovable. But if I am a Trump voter who is reconsidering my vote, what I'm getting is the underlying subconscious message is, don't you want to be happy? Do you want to be angry? Wouldn't it be nice to like wave a flag, not because you're trying to put out a fire, but just because you're like, hey, America's not a third world country. America is not the worst country on the planet. America is not all of these things that Donald Trump is saying. Look at these people. It's a whole bunch of people there, and they look happy as hell. I want to be happy. You know, maybe my eggs are a little more expensive, but I could make a cake with them eggs, and I could put frosting on that cake and enjoy it, and have some ice cream with that cake and have a good time. I think that's what they're going. I think it's optimism, and because the Republicans cannot attack them at the DNC.
No.
And so I think they're trying to create a contrast, and then afterwards, I think that's when the claws are going to come out. Walz has already demonstrated that he's willing to be tough.
Yeah.
You've got some people who give this many about AOC is going to be out there. Crockett's going to be out there. They have the people out there who are ready to attack, but they're going to keep Harris clean. She's going to be tough. You'll see what happens in the debate, I think, is where we're looking at that. They want to draw that contrast. Right now, there's never been anything where Harris goes against Trump and Trump flounders and he's going to go for insults. He's going to go for whatever instead of policy. There's never been a head-to-head of these two people. And when you see a grown-up and a child who is also a predator and also a felon go head-to-head, that's when we're really going to see. And I think that's what he's dreading. I think because he thinks he's going to say, I don't think you're smart. You're not smart. I don't think she's a bright person. And people are going to be like,
she has more degrees than you, and you bought the one you have.
Exactly.
Balls to the walls is a great thing, and I'm loving that.
He's even said that he was better looking than she was yesterday.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
dude, what the hell? I mean, where is he going right now?
no, he does not have a mirror.
Yeah.
Clearly. Maybe he's got the picture of Dorian Trump in his closet somewhere.
Right.
And he doesn't realize he looks like the picture. He doesn't look like Dorian Trump.
But you know what? Even in his heyday, he didn't look that good.
No, he didn't. He was just
He's never had a chin.
He was white and had money, and it made him attractive.
Correct. That's all it was. And one of the things, again, if you're interested in watching stuff to kind of get you jazzed, if you want to see what some of the real hard hitters are doing, the Lincoln Project is being ruthless. George Conway is being ruthless. Midas Touch is being ruthless. And one of the things that I love so much about when I watch the Midas Touch, they just did an ad and it shows Kamala Harris with kids versus Trump with kids. And they have this beautiful little girl. And she comes up, she's like, "Oh, you're wearing a cape. I didn't wear my cape. What are you going to do? You're going to go talk to the other superheroes and da-da-da-da-da." And then it goes to Trump. "You see that girl on the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years.
His words coming out of his mouth?
Yes.
Ew.
Wow.
It's live video of him. And it cuts back to her and she's like, "You don't wait for anybody to tell you to lead. If you want to lead, you just lead." And then it cuts to an interviewer saying, "Well, what did Tiffany get from Marla?" "Well, she's got Marla's legs. We haven't seen up here yet, but that's coming." I'm telling you, it is devastating. So go to the Midas Touch and look up that Kamala versus Trump and children. You can probably find it. It is amazing.
And for the people watching, if you look it up, repost it.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm thinking.
Share it.
To do so. Yeah.
Share it. That's one of the things about the Midas Touch.
Rick Wilson thing? Was that
what was that?
The Rick Wilson clapback? Who sent me that one?
He was like, "Sue me if you want to."
Yeah.
Rick Wilson is ready.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, please, because we'll do disclosures. Oh, another thing. Instead of campaigning this week, which is what you might do for counter programming, he is lodged up in a Trump building in Chicago. So here's the problem with that. He declared a complete loss on that building in 2005 and wrote off like $678 million, which wiped out his tax liability. Remember, you were talking about, "Oh, that's very smart. You take advantage of the tax code."
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that he transferred ownership of that building to another of his shell corporations and then took another $100-and-something million write-off on it. He double dipped on the same loss. And now he's staying at that building to launch his broadsides that nobody's watching about Kamala Harris and the DNC. He just figures, "I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to tell them what they shouldn't see about the DNC." And he's going to get his little 6 viewers or whatever. But now the Justice Department is re-looking at that scandal, and it could cost him like $150 million in fees and penalties and interest and all of that stuff. So on top of everything else, on top of the $100 million from E. Jean Carroll, on top of the as much as $540 million for the fraud case, now we're looking at another $150 million because he's a cheat. On top of the fact that he may be sentenced on September 18th, although it's probably not going to happen, but it could happen.
Let me tell you something. This country is weird and wrong and backwards when it comes to how we go after people. You can be a child predator and get a couple months. You can be a rapist and never even go to jail. You can do a lot of things, but you fuck with this country's money.
Oh my God.
They're coming for you.
Yeah,
remember, like, I'll always remind people that it was tax evasion and RICO laws that took Al Capone down.
Mm-hmm.
It was not the multiple murders that he committed. They went after him for taxes.
Yeah.
And they went after Wesley Snipes for taxes.
Yeah.
It wasn't the vampires he killed.
Nope.
He was betting on black.
Small amount that Martha Stewart went to jail for? Wasn't like
Yeah, she went to jail.
No, it was insider trading. Yeah. That's
Okay.
Financial crimes.
Mhm.
Okay.
But it's still money. And she did time.
Yeah.
She was doing doilies and time in jail. And they will get him. And he's not even smart enough to be a good like mafia don. Like, bruh, quit while you behind. You know?
You got Martha Stewart in jail making some soap cozies. I made these delightful little soap cozies out of loofah so I can scrub and also suds. And that's a good thing.
Shut up.
I like your hair, Joy.
What'd you say?
I like your hair.
Thank you.
Yeah,
very much.
we've been down that block. She's working.
I will take all compliments. I will take compliments again tomorrow on my hair, and we will be back tomorrow. So we're pushing up on the time where tonight's events are getting started.
We want to be able to get people started on that. So you can watch for free on YouTube. YouTube has a free feed that doesn't have, like, it's not intercut with anybody commenting on anything like that. So if you want to watch kind of an unadulterated feed just to watch and enjoy, you can rewind your favorite bits and whatever you want. Just look it up on YouTube. It's not the most streamed platform, but it's a great, clear, perfect feed with no extra drama, no commercials cut in, none of that. It's just 100% wall-to-wall DNC.
And we will be back tomorrow at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, in order to bring you another. Hopefully, we kind of got excited tonight because it's our first time doing this, but it'll be like a 30-minute recap tomorrow. Yeah. Right.
Hopefully 30 minutes. So
4 Eastern.
4 Eastern. Yeah.
Yeah. 4
Eastern
Pacific.
4 Pacific.
7 Eastern.
7 Eastern, 4 Pacific.
So with that, I will say I'm Tom Cunningham.
Y'all both froze.
Oh, I'm Joy Stevens.
And y'all both froze. I'm Jermaine Taylor.
But we're not frozen, but this is Steel Sharpens Steel. Goodbye, everybody.